Hey, it's Liv, and welcome back to Girl vs. Motorcycle. I have a naked Duchess behind me in the process of making some updates, a few mechanical, some body. Hopefully by the time this video actually gets uploaded, I will have posted all of her gorgeous updates on Instagram. But today, just going to do a rear tire change, and also while I have the rear tire off, gonna change the brake pads on the rear caliper. So not too crazy. I'm a little bit excited. This is the first time I'm going to be using my No-Mar tire changer that I recently purchased, and going to actually use a lift to change a tire, a proper lift. So this is going to be exciting. There's going to be some learning curves involved. So you'll get to see all the steps, which is the point of these videos. I like to as I've mentioned before, I'm not a professional mechanic. I just got my service manual, and I like getting my hands dirty, and I like having tools, and it's super exciting. So you will learn along with me. But yeah, so let's get started with the tools you'll need and go from there. Sure to be an exciting adventure. Can't wait. Let's go. Okay, let's go over the tools you will need. Obviously, your service manual if you have it. Always good for torque settings and stuff, but I'll go over all that. You will need all kinds of fun stuff. But here's the stuff that I can remember that's important. If you can't get, there is a special wrench, Harley wrench, and it's part number. There's no part number. I thought there was a part number on here. There isn't, but it's basically an axle wrench from Harley Davidson's. 3/4 on one side, 36 millimeter on side. You're going to need the 36 millimeter for your axle nut. Speaking of that, you're going to need a 36 millimeter socket. So you're going to sockets. You're going to need your regular socket wrench, your regular torque wrench, and if you're cool, big Papa torque wrench. Yes, that's for the rear axle nut. There you go. A 19-inch combo wrench or 19-inch wrench or an adjustable C-wrench will work too. Various bits. You're going to need an 8 millimeter hex bit, a T45 Torx and a T50 Torx, a valve core stem remover of some sort. These are ones I travel with. Trusty old blue Loctite 242 thread locker, as they like to call it. You're going to get some Loctite. Wait, this is not Loctite. It is a anti-seize lubricant stick. Yes, this. You'll need this for lubing up your axle. A solid pair of gloves came in handy. Rubber coating, so for gripping. Always your simple green and shop rags. Windex because they're like, use some spray detergent like Windex. You'll see. Also, if you are mounting your own tire, which I will go over, if you're mounting on a tire, you need some wheel weights and a tire balancer, which I don't do because I use tire beads. Easy tire beads, ceramic balancing beads is what I use. Yeah. Easy beads or Dyna beads or ceramic balancing beads, whatever you want to call them. That's what I use to balance my tires. I just find it easier that way. Obviously air compressor and any other little things you may think you need, but these are the major tools you need for this job. All right, let's get started. Okay, so I've taken up the lift. Basic stuff. Anyway. So it's been a while since I've actually changed it. I did it before. I did it without the lift, whatever. So I am kind of piecing together, trying to remember how to do this while also like looking in the manual and all that stuff and trying to figure out where the tools I used the first time I did this, and half of them might have gone with the X. Anyway, I digress. So what I'm going to do here is we got the lift up. I have a nice like flat lift here. We're going to take this. You see this lift has a nice cool drop bar here. So this is going to take the wheel, take some weight off the back end. Now I did put the bike in gear because once you start loosening nuts and stuff, you want that you don't want to be fighting the wheel spinning. You want that to be locked. So we're gonna take this and take some weight off the bike. I put a towel on here because I did that before. For many reasons. My personal reason is that I do have LED lights under here and hoping to protect them. If not, I have to change them. I have to change them. My biggest, if I have to change them, it's fine because actually some of them are shredded anyway. So we're gonna try to get a little bit of weight off of here. And like I said, there's a learning curve. So if I find out I really need to put that back down, I'll say. And these are handy little lifts. This scissor jack came with the lift, which was nice. But if you just have one of these for your smaller bikes, you can do this with just this. When I did it before, I have a Harbor Freight hydraulic lift that I took the weight off of, and then I put cinder blocks under it. Again, covered it with towels and let it sit on there because I don't like anything sitting on a lift for too much time because it sounds like a recipe for disaster. Make sure it's centered and just enough. Just enough. Okay, next step. Okay, we're gonna take off some peripherals here. This is your retaining ring, your axle nut retaining ring. You're gonna take this off. Usually for retaining rings, they're a little smaller. There's a proper tool with little like pointy things to grab in little holes. This is a little bit bigger. It doesn't even have the holes. So you're going to very carefully take it off, probably with some needle nose pliers and just kind of pop it off. Hopefully without any issue. There we go. Came right off. Boom. Retaining ring. Bam. Okay, next step is loosening all the axle nuts. This guard here is for your belt. It's your belt guard. There is stock on the VRod. Another one that goes under. I had that one. Screw broke. I don't use it. It's fine. It's almost optional. I've been riding without it for years. It's good. What I can't remember if last time because what you need to do to get this off is loosen this because it kind of pops on. But I can't find my bit for this. The closest the closest Torx bit I have is a T45, and I think this is a T50. So I don't remember if I took it off or not. The manual says take it off if needed. So we're gonna find out. You're gonna grab this handy dandy axle tool here. That'll hold this here. It says 36 millimeter. I also have there it is. Oh, God, you think I keep track of this? 36 millimeter socket for the other side. This thing's massive. For the actual nut on the other side. So this is going to hold it. I'm going to use a breaker bar so that I do not, I repeat, do not damage any of my socket wrenches or my torque wrench. Whenever you're breaking stuff, do not try to use a breaker bar. I'm realizing this is a little big for that. So I'm going to find my little turnaround tool and get that set before we break it. Okay, I did put the lift down and I was having some leverage issues and all this stuff. So I've been toying around till I found something that worked. Because the torque setting on this axle nut, if I remember correctly, is like in the 130 foot-pounds range. That's why I have a Big Papa torque wrench we talked about a long time ago, specifically for tires. So with that, this is a pain in the butt. So eventually, I found a pipe for leverage because just holding on to this isn't good. Also, what you want to make sure is with your breaker bar, like I have to have a little turnaround tool for it to fit this socket. You want to make sure it's seated right and keep an eye on it because I've had these turnarounds or these extensions snap before because of high torque values and stuff like that. So keep an eye on it, make sure it's seated all the way. Because yeah, so when I did do this, I'm not gonna lie, I did stop the video, make sure this actually worked, and it did start to loosen it. Did find a nice pipe, hold on to that, get your leverage in, and there goes that nut, loosening! It's so exciting, isn't it? So exciting! It is. Alright. So, I'm gonna give this a couple go-arounds like this. Oh, look, now it's going. Yay, it's loose! So excited right now. Alright. So once that's loose, okay, now that that's loose and this is on the ground, I'm going to raise this up again. I'm going to start picking these stuff off. There's a, this is what they call the axle nut adjuster. Basically it slides your axle back and forth so you can get your tire aligned and all that stuff. So we're going to take those off. Hopefully not have to take the shock off to get that belt guard off, because I don't remember if I did that before or not. I'm going to get reset here, and we will continue on. Okay, see, this is loose. So, axle nuts. Washer. So the axle nut is actually on the actual bolt. The actual axle. It's here on the other side. And if you could see, I'm moving it. And you see how it slides back and forth? Slides back and forth. So then you can, it'll loosen the belt as it moves forward. So then you'll be able to slide the belt off the pulley. But I'm also having a realization here. You know what I need to do, you guys? Loosen this brake caliper right here so I can take it off. Or else I'm going to run into a lot of hiccups. So let me get the proper tools for that and loosen the freaking brake caliper. Jeez Louise. Okay, full disclosure, I broke down, ran to Lowe's. Got a proper bit. Because in order for me to get the brake caliper up, I really do need to move this because it's easier to take the caliper off from here. I think the last time I changed the brake pads, I just popped them off. Like, you can leave it on here and change the pads. And that's a pain in the butt. I'm just full disclosure. So I got a T50 star bit for here, or Torx bit, excuse me. And this is a 19 millimeter combo wrench. In case you didn't realize, the VRod being a Harley design bike with a, what's the word I'm looking for? Influenced by the Germans. There's a lot of, some is metric, some is SA. There you go. So it should loosen this up. Oh, again with the breaker bar situation, huh? Oh, there it went. Yay. This is why you have to break it. I don't know if you can see that in here, but there is blue Loctite. So everything needs to be broken because it's all Loctited down. Probably have to do this one too. Just so you can swing it. So probably just have to loosen it really. Actually, I was trying to loosen it and I was concerned about stripping that out, but then I was realizing, let's just remove it. Ha! Easy peasy. Dunzos with that. So now we get to loosen this. I will loosen them at the points here and here. And then these are, if I'm right, and I'm never right. Oh, I thought that was, that's interesting. So on that side it is an 8 millimeter. On this side it should be the same because they're the same bolts. And it doesn't seem like not. Nah, it's set. It's like, this is pretty deep, so actually I was just having a problem with it, but, you know, little love tapper keeps you from stripping out heads and bolts. I'm just saying. Always keep a rubber mallet in your toolbox. We're going to use this in a minute, too. But let's take these out. Sides up, and then I feel like anytime I've done anything with the bike, taking this rear brake caliper off has always been a challenge. Oh, you know what I should have grabbed? A bungee cord. Hold on. you don't want your ABS brake lines to be pulled on. So if you take the weights off with the bungee cord, it actually says that in your service manual. Oh, it's got it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Got it, you guys. Yeah, better. Alrighty. I think the fun part is coming, so I'm gonna. Yeah. So using this again to slide the tire forward and backwards. See forward. You start to see. I think you can see the slack in the belt happening here. So it moves it forward. So remember when I talked about how I had inverse because of wheels and nuts? Now I'm in neutral because I can spin the belt to get it off. We're going to do that real quick. Hold on. Neutral. Wheel spin in neutral. There we go. Hey. For the most part, she is off. Okay. Hey, I have to take the guard off. All right. So belt off. This is loose. Tire's loose. I want you to see this tray here. So this tray, of course I got tons of tools on right now, but it does pop up so you can drop over your wheel, literally drop over your wheel. What that is actually for is something like the Indian. Because it's got a full skirt or whatever, it's harder to, what it'll do is make it easier to drop the tire instead of you having to take all the fenders and shit off. So whenever I get around to changing tires on that one, we'll probably see this in full effect. But I'm pretty sure for this project, I do not need to do it. So I'm going to keep it on until I need to take it off, right? Right. Okay, cool. Remember I talked about the mallet? So I'm going to go on the other side here and just tap this, hopefully. Oh, play. So let's see if we can watch the threads when you do this. You don't want them really getting on stuff, but I just want to show you that as you're taking on your axle nut, you have, this is the bracket for your brake caliper, and there's also ABS wheel. Ugh. Wow, words are hard. Your ABS wheel sensor is here. So you'll see the cable for it. So keep an eye on it because you don't want that damaged. Woo! Leverage. All right, so it's like, oh, that stuff falling. Oh my God. Next time I'll have to lift a little lower. But axle. Wheel. Just keep an eye on your stuff. Oh, look, I see my sensor. There's a note in the manual that says keep your sensor away from magnets, and it landed really close to this. 'Tis my life. But oh, silly girl. Well, guess what? I am not as smart as people think I am. I'm assuming people think I'm smart. So I'm like, oh, pop this off. I'll pop this off. I need to take this off. I do need to take this off. So I can't get this past anything. So now that I have the actual proper freaking bit for it, I'm going to do that. Slide the wheel off. I'll probably put a note when I edit this saying, yes, you have to take this off. Before we get to this point, so you don't end up going, look, but you told me. Yeah, I know. So I'm going to do that. Do want to show you that to take. That screw out of there is great. I got the wheel off, but I had to take the shock off, and this bolt was way more friendly than the one on the right side. But to take this cover off, after you get the screw off, there's a little slot that it goes in here too behind the bolt. So it's screwed in with the shock bolt, and then it's in there, and then there's another little thing there, and I'm gonna watch as I try to remember that this also pops off. See? So this, if you can see it there, I'll probably zoom in so you can see that's where this slides into, and there's another one here for this one. So that's how that comes off. Here's your belt. Good time to inspect your belt too, you know. Check it out. Like I said, it's going to be on the rack for a while, so I can check the belt. If I feel like I need to replace it, I will. But kind of just scanning. Doesn't look like it. But more importantly, the wheel's off. Wheel's off, my peoples. Wheel is off. Yeah, I'm going to look for the guidelines on the belt, but I don't see any terrible wear damage or any of that stuff. Okay. Okay, I got the wheel off, and what I want to show you is, here's your sprocket. Sprocket does come off. Careful, see this? There's a washer here, and it's stuck to here from all the anti-seize. Don't lose washers and stuff like that. You're going to need them all. But your sprocket will come off. You see that? And if you're lucky, everything's fine. Nothing looks weird. I'm all about inspecting stuff. Put that right there. Here are your bushings and stuff. Cushion bushing. Wheel bearings. Stuff like that. It's a good time to inspect all that stuff, but what's great is that this stuff doesn't necessarily need to come off to do this. I was reading in the manual, because I've read about a lot about people changing wheel bearings, stuff like that. And it says basically almost to the point of it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if it's not leaking, it's not doing anything, don't even worry about it. And considering nothing here is sticking out to me as bad or out of place or anything like that. Oh, look, right here. I'm going to show you what I just found. There you go. This wheel bearing. That's a wheel bearing. And I'm one of those people, I read so many forums, so many things that I start seeing people go, oh, I got to change my wheel bearing. I'm like, oh my God, do I need to change my wheel bearing? The answer is no, probably not. To be nice to your brake disc, I do recommend removing it. Like this can stay on, but I'm gonna actually take a minute and take this off before I get the tire all going for, dismounting and stuff. So, all right, we'll be back shortly. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is take the brake rotor off, check it, make sure it's okay. We got here is a T45 for these. I will tell you that in the Harley manual and all this stuff, it tells you to, when you take these screws off, just buy new ones and put them on. But I've changed the rear tire 3 times. And I think only one of the times that I actually buy those nuts, because I'm like, they're perfectly fine. They're fine. And I'm starting to feel like a lot of things get damaged when you use like an impact wrench to take them out and all that stuff, and that's why they're like, oh, just buy new ones, because then it covers their behind. So I think that's all it is. So unless I take these off and go, oh shit, new ones, I'm probably gonna be fine. So, and again, I'm gonna use my breaker bar because I have it and I love it. Oh wait, and then I also maybe should have done this one. It's all fine. So funny. Because it's big. Oh my God. My life is a comedy of errors. Alright. So I will work on that. Let's make sure it's well seated. Now I'm also starting to think that I could have put it in the tire changer and locked it down. But I would have to lock it down, I have to take the air out, and then I'm risking the rotor because the rotor's in the way. And I'm like, yeah, all of this. No, never mind. Just taking the brake rotor off. Alright, so I took the 5 bolts out. Like I said, they look pretty good, I think. Yeah. But anyway, I will tell you though, I was reminded of a story the first time I took this off. When I put it back on, I freaked out because it wasn't, the wheel wasn't lining up right on the bike, or the wheel wasn't lining up right, and I couldn't get it, and it wouldn't sit, and the brake calipers all weird. I was like, freaking out. What had happened was, do you see these screw holes are recessed. So what I had done, instead of putting it on this way, I had it on that way. And it really throws everything off. So don't do that. Don't do that. Check this out. Rotors. The only time really rotors go bad is like, I don't know, damage, warping, that kind of thing, whatever, but they're expensive, so you probably really don't need to swap them. I took care of my car the last time, and I changed those rotors, but those rotors were freaking cheap. Go figure. Bike rotors, not so much. But, yeah, you're looking, just look for gouges, look for anything. Looks good. Alrighty. Okay, this is my No More Tire Changer. I'll try to get a better shot of it at some point. So, just to know, these blocks here, I have this camera going, I'll show you. These blocks are called their dog and cam blocks for locking and stuff. These are the blocks you're going to use when you're going to break beads and stuff. What I also have is the Posi clamps, which is what they recommend for Harley tires, essentially. Harley tires or cruiser tires. The dog and cam blocks, if you look on their website, are more for their, what did they say? Dirt bike, sport tours, sport bikes, that kind of thing. So that's what, but I did. What's funny about doing this for the first time with this is that I'm watching videos and then making a video. So do with that information what you will. And again, I have to remember how to change tires in the first place. But what I didn't want to forget is one of the most important things you got to remember when you're changing your tires is that tires are directional, as are your wheels, obviously. So what you want to do is, or this is what I do, because it's really easy. So before I do anything else with the tire, kind of look for, they're on your tire somewhere. I swear it's somewhere. There should be an arrow. It's a directional arrow. Oh, I think this is it. They kind of, Metzler kind of just engrades it into the logo and stuff, so you're not sure. There's a little arrow here, if you can see it. And so what I do, I actually end up marking the wheel. So I do have a marking here. Telling me that wheel goes that way. The wheel goes that way. And that correlates to this marking here. So that's good. So here's what I do. I take a Sharpie. Because if you use dry erase marker, it's going to disappear real fast. Find it, and I just do this. And then you give myself a little note like, oh yeah, this is going to go this way, you guys. And because it's Sharpie, guess what? It comes off with freaking rubbing alcohol. Pretty easy. And so not to confuse myself, because it's so easy to confuse myself. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'll do it on both sides, so when I flip it over, it makes sense. And oh, here it is. Oh, because it's only on one side of the tire. They put it right here. Rotation goes that way. This way is the rotation, it says. All right, so turn this over. I'm going to flip this over and over and over again. So I probably could have left it on that side, but, you know, I like to repeat myself needlessly. So what you're going to do before you break the bead on your tire, and after you mark it, you're going to get your valve stem remover. Very important. And remove the valve vent and let all the air out. Because it's really hard to break beads with air in it. Let's see if I can move this and get a better shot for you. It's right here. Take the end with the slot in it. See? And it'll grab it. Sometimes this takes a little. There we go. Okay, the first part is pretty simple. We're gonna break the bead now that we let all the air out. So on this tire changer here, I gotta break a bead now. I've been told this tire changer will do up to 250 millimeters wide. And 240. 240, because of my fancy. So wish me luck. Wish me luck. Alright. And the idea is to break it all the way around, so I gotta keep spinning this on both sides. So let's see. Step one. That didn't work, guys. I'm going to show you that little clip there. If you can see, it's pushing down, so you got to do that all the way around. So, you know, just, it's a progressive thing. So, I'm only going to record a couple of these. You can hear the little air pop out, too. Oh, look, see? Woo! Oh, this is exciting, you guys. So exciting. Look at that. So you're going to do it all the way around. All the way around on both sides. So using kind of tire stem is like, okay, this is my guide. So once I get this side done, I'll flip it over and do the other side. And then review what I need to do next and then tell you. So great, you guys. So great. So good. Look at that. I'm very impressed right now. This is super exciting. Nomar has a tire changer too that has a bead breaker like on the base, but which is good for, oh shit, slipped again. Yeah, so you get more leverage, but I believe that one will not do 240s, and that's why I didn't get it. And I say believe because yes, I did get this a while ago. The first time I'm using it though. All right, I'm gonna flip it around to the other side. Okay, so I just want to show you real quick the Posi clamps, which are these. These are what the dog and cam ones look like. I'm off here. Now, on one side of these, there is markings for your tire size, rim size here. It's on the right one, and I'm looking down at it now. Of course, I don't have a camera pointing at it. Maybe in a second. All right, anyway. So there is one for, what does it say, 16 to 19, and the rear tire is 18. So that qualifies. Math. Now, in the instructions for the Posi clamps and stuff, there's like, oh, this one's marked rear. This one goes in the back. I don't have one marked rear. I've looked like 5 times since I've gotten the thing. So, rolling with it. So I'm going to put those on there. And then I think I got to actually shim the tire. So let me work on that real quick. I will stand by. Okay. So I have to basically make room for the Posi clamps to grab the tire. So what's nice is that they give you, gives you a box of shims. Watching video, I gotta put shims under this. Don't ask me why I'm wearing one glove, because you know I had to freaking try to do this first, right? Right. So, and the guy was smart. You put it, kind of line it on top of it, so then you know where you need to shim it. And you just hope and pray this works. And I will show you how this kind of goes in here. These are freaking huge wood shims. Huge, I tell you. Huge. But, got one. Very proud of myself. Okay. So let's see. So it took me a while to do that first one. So what I'm trying to do here is get this little lip right here. The curve, it's going to go under there to pull it back to make that space. Again, I think that's why I have one glove off, because you know, delicate flower. I don't know. You know, we've talked about how much I hate gloves, right? We've talked about that. So, it did take me a while to get one. Let's see if I can get this one now that I've done it once. Maybe, oh maybe. Let's shift a little bit. Got it. Some tons of stuff on the floor. All right. I'm not gonna bore you. I'm not gonna bore you with me getting the third one in. Figure it out. Okay, so the whole point of getting these shims in, full disclosure for the last one, I actually put it on the floor, is so you can mount it to the Posi clamps. So, I'll flip this over. Oh God. I think over time the tire gets heavier. And this is going to be the interesting part because I got to line this up. For sure. Kind of fun. Sometimes it's hard to see on the bottom when you're looking at the top, right? Corvettes. All right. And here you can maybe see those markings, but oh, look, there it is. Basically looking where my Posi clamps are lining up, and this is way further away. Aha! Wait, no, I want it closer. Hold on. So it's a 9/16 socket. They recommend to get these lined up and tightened. Okay. It's gripped. It's gripped. Definitely gripped. I think the next part involves lube. Stand by. Alright, here's going to be the interesting part. So, Nomar gives you lube. Oh, I got the jars actually trapped in there. I'll show you. But they give you a lube for this stuff. I was watching an old video I watched, I guess, originally, and they use like Windex, and that seems dumb. Whatever. Anyway, so this is what's about. My point is, this is going to be the interesting part, okay, guys? Because what I'm hoping, if I can get it off, I can get it on. The reason I started with the 240 is that the first time I changed this tire, my ex had bought a really cheap tire changer from Harbor Freight, and it was some effort to do the front tire, but the rear tire, that thing laughed at and sent it to its demise. So, getting a real tire changer kind of deal. So, let's just hope. Let's just hope. So, supposed to throw some lube on here, like so. Look, I'm wearing gloves. Okay. And then there's a little flat-end nub here. And the guy started on this side. He goes, oh, he was just starting on this side for reference, so thanks for giving me a point, dude. Basically, we're gonna push this in here, get it under. Basically, you're gonna get it between the tire and the rim. So that's the idea. I'll enjoy watching this, by the way. Okay, not gonna lie. Took about an hour for me to get this D-mount bar under the rim. After like 45 minutes, I pulled up a different video on No More's site, and they're taking off a Honda Goldwing rear tire. When I ordered the tire changer, sweet, awesome freaking sales rep said, watch that video for your Indian tires, because those are always really stiff and and there's certain techniques you gotta do with that. So something said, you know what, let me go watch this. So I did. And I got most of it off, as you can see. The key was with shims was basically to shim it, leave it shimmed on two sides, like, you know, like at, oh, how does time work? Like 8 and 4 o'clock, something like that. Leave it, and then Jeanette, like the third part of your triangle there, that's where you kind of put your demount bar, because it needed the pressure to push down. So I got that, and then be very generous with the lube spray, which I did. So that jar of lube and the spray, and then really generous, and then I finally got it under, and it has a little notch where, wait, actually, let me show you, because I have a spare notch, so I want to show you before, because Lord knows I don't want to take it off. But if you can see this here, how it's like flat and long way, so what happens is like you're pushing on the bead, and then once it gets past there, it does like this so it can lock in and then pop it up. So it is popped up right now. There's also the, you know, pull on the tire as you do it, and I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, because I'm a woman, I'm weaker. No, it's because I have a bum shoulder and a freaking tire, I'm weaker. Other challenges, this doesn't fit in the hole with, I think, the wheel bearing, but I'm not even exactly 100% sure how to take it out, but it was enough of the lip of the screw to get the counterbalance for the pivot to get it up, so it did. So right now now it's like this. Now it's, see, rim's above, it's above, like phase 1 complete. The next part is getting the same demount rim, basically underneath it, for the same purpose. And we'll see. Oh look, yeah, that ain't in bad shape. That's, oh, it's not even a screw. That makes it great. It's like more like just a pin. Okay, what they did with the gold wing tire is take one of the pry bars, shimmy it up through here. There's a nice little gap in there. You can kind of wiggle it through. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. Figure it out. And then they're going to use that. And of course, there's 2 guys in this video. But you're going to use, let's see how many hands I can figure out. Up, use this. Oops, that's going to slip off like it just did. There we go. So that gets a little bit of gap under there, so you can lift it up. This is actually a really great trick. There's another trick like this with freaking other side. Ow, hit myself in the leg. I always get bruised a lot when I do stuff, so I'm used to it. There. I'm going to try to, I don't think I have this pry bar in a great spot, but I'm going to try to work with it. No, here. Hey, all this stuff's moving. And this turns here, and this will. Like, seriously, okay. I did it. I did it. I did it. I'm gonna chuck some water. And then we're gonna try to get one on, guys. We're gonna try to get a freaking 240 on. Okay, so once I took the tire off, I took an extended break. So I'm gonna, and I watched the video several fucking times on getting the new tire back on. And this is bound to be a struggle as well. So I'm gonna do the best I can in these very difficult circumstances to get this on. Let's try to clean up. So, most important thing, clean the rim. I took my Simple Green on. I didn't spray Simple Green directly on the rim. Because there's always questions about moisture and stuff and tires and things like that. So I kept it safe. Stepped it up, put it on the bike, clean it up, clean up all the old residue off of it so it doesn't impede anything. So that's good. I did that before I walked away for a few hours. So hey, if it was wet, it's dry now. Dry now. So watch the videos. I got my tire on the ground, laid in the rotational direction that it should be comparative to the rim. And Nomar gives you this paste. Now the paste I have is a little old, so they're like, stir it, it should be fine, it should be fine. It doesn't seem as pasty as what's in the video. Who knows? Gonna roll with it. And my paste is over here. And I'm sitting here going, actually, I should probably take it out of this because it might be easier. Oh, wait. No more in their fanciness. This actually... Okay, wait. I know I want to take it out. They make a little room for tools and stuff like that. So, it's there. And here's what you're supposedly supposed to do. Take some paste. Put it on the outside of the rim. All of this is to basically help the tire slide onto the rim, right? New tire. Because things are hard, things are cold. I have kept my tires inside my house for the last, let's say since the beginning of the year. So about 3 months. I didn't know when I would get to them, but I knew that the first time I did tires, they were cold. And it was hard. So I was trying to keep them warm in the house. You know, you can only do so much. Let's see. The other thing they tell you to put it is in the drop center here. They call this the drop center from rim to rim. Kind of focusing right there on the ridge. What that does, they say that this lubricant paste will help seal the rim as well as help it from, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, it's coarse. It'll slow it, friction. Stop friction. So you can get this dang tire on you. There you go. Okay. Tire. Now, the other thing they say about their placing the lube, not the inside, but the outside. Yeah, the outside makes more sense, doesn't it? Yeah. All right. So, we're gonna do that because the whole point is to make it easier to get the tire on, for sure. Right? All easier to get the tire on. All right? Because literally it was pushing on here, and they pushed it, and I think this is where the lube part comes in. Right? Wouldn't you think? Lube part. The fact that I got this, I'm going to say 85% on is really kind of shocking, even to me. So, holy cow! Amazeballs. I did not think that was going to go down that way. I'm very excited. Okay. I like how I'm giving you a play-by-play in the video. Then in the video, if you want to watch this video, Nomar, Nomar, tire changers. Google them. Go to their video. They have video library. The Honda Goldwing rear is what I've been watching. So, okay. What they do is wipe some of the extra lube off the tire. Oh, baby. So, I'm going to pause. I'll take a minute. I'm going to review because I think I know how this goes on. Before I do, though, obviously it's on the other side. So there are 2 dots on the tire. On this particular tire. Some dots are yellow, some dots are red, whatever it is. There are markings on a brand new tire that are dots. What those dots are telling you where to line up your tire stem. The dots for this are on the other side. it is important to get that lined up before you seat the tire, before you get those beads freaking attached and all that stuff. Beforehand, you're probably good, but just keep that in mind. Mine right now are on the other side. So we will revisit that shortly. In the meantime, I'm going to double check. I know I have to use the yellow thingy. So, which is, it's my favorite name for a tool right now is yellow thingy, guys. Okay. Stand by. Okay, in theory, seems simple enough. All right. So, you're going to get your prongs of your tire mount bar under one side of this. So, we're going to do that. And since I can lift the tire still, I think that's the key here, right? So, just, some things sound easier sometimes. In my head, it sounded easier. Ooh. There we go. Okay. Now, this is where the yellow thingy comes in play. Yellow thingy! Alright, that in a rim here. There it goes. Okay. This should be an interesting part because I should be able to slide this so it gets as much of the tire already onto the rim as possible. Place your bets! Okay, cool. Oh, lift it up a little bit. It's easier. Just a little, not enough to get it off. This is happening, by the way. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, it's spinning in the thing. So the guy described it. He goes hip on the bar, right hand on this, and then. I feel like they're supposed to be. The lube I wiped off should be on there. See if that makes a difference. Guys, think how much awesome it'll be when I'm not doing the 240. Oh, lube. Lube, baby, lube. Come on, you know you want to. Oh, I get a little bit more and it's like, Okay, so full disclosure, I had a lot of problems putting on the tire, so I just called it a night. I phoned a friend. Actually, I emailed Nomar, and they sent me the same video link. And the challenge was that as you're kind of turning the mount bar, you have to kind of push on the opposite side of the tire to get it towards the what they call the not the drop zone, drop rim, drop center, that's it. And because I had shoulder surgery last year, the year before, whatever, like I just couldn't put the pressure down. So phone a friend, always an option. So one of us is, actually I was kneeling on the tire as he helped get the final thing on. So it's on. I do not foresee having this issue with my 120 that's on the front. Just the width of the tire. So remind me of that next time I change my tire, please. But next up, I'm going to try to knock this out really quick because yesterday was supposed to be one day of this and I've got places to be. So what we're gonna do is put in our new tire stem, and what you're gonna do is I'm like, hopefully I get this in here in this camera because I'm not looking at it very well, but your tire stem, it's gonna go there. There's a little notch in here. It's the same tool you use to take it out, basically. I mean, not basically. It is the same tool you use to take it out. And you're gonna replace it there. And the whole point of this is to essentially going to seat the bead. Hopefully. Because if we don't seat the bead today, I'm going to lose my mind. Now, the other thing is, too, I found when putting in tire stems, they get finicky. Sometimes they're too tight, sometimes they're too loose. So, you know, put it in there, a little snug, and go from there. I'm also, with this tire, it's sometimes hard to, with the angle, the way the wheel is. It's more with the wheel. It's hard to get air in. But I'm going to try to use this because this is going to give me the most angle leverage to get air in there. The other one's just short and stubby, and I have to hold it on, and I feel like it may not work. So the goal is to seat the bead. There is going to be, when it happens, if it happens, it will happen. It'll be a loud pop. I was rewatching some old videos. They said, hey, you only need like 15, 20 to set the bead. Yeah, okay. I don't. Let's see what happens. So, my air compressor kicks on. I will edit that out. I'll make it nice and lovely for you guys. So, wish me luck. Ooh, it's moving now. So. Oh! Hey-yo! That wasn't a loud enough pop, so I don't... It did pop. I'm just going to double check it. I flipped it over just to make sure it popped on this side too. And there is like a soapy water trick. You can check for air bubbles. I should probably do that, but let me see what my time constraints are. That seems good. Soapy water, huh? Okay, so I did try the soapy water trick on one side. I didn't see any bubbles. I'm going to do it on the other side, and I'm going to show you. Usually I've seen it done with like a spray bottle, but I found with a spray bottle, it's just making it all foamy. So how do you see bubbles? So I put just a drop of dishwashing liquid in here, and I just poured it on the rim. And of course, like, my camera's on my freaking shop rag box, so that's something. I also find this helps clean your wheel when you're done. But literally, hopefully I get it close, just poured it on the seal. If anything, it showed me how uneven my damn floor is, but I live in Vegas. Nothing is even here. No walls, no... But, yeah, no bubbles. Bubbles means air is getting through in, science. Bubbles. So, hey, we did see the stinking bead. I thought it'd be a louder pop. But then again, after messing with this tire for, the last 12 or so hours, I'll tell you what, it was pretty tight on that rim anyway. So the fact it's not a big pop should not be that much of a surprise to me, for sure. So I'm going to wipe this down, and if I have time, the other thing I need to do is I use, you may have seen it, I talked about it a little bit in the tools you may need, dyno beads, or balancing beads. Some people love them, some people hate them. When I bought the bike the first time I took a tire off, I'm like, why is it raining? It was balancing beads. And what I have found, the thing about balancing beads is that you don't have to use wheel weights. There's no like science to it. Is the size of the tire is relative to how much weight of beads you put in the tire. And the idea is the beads always land where they need to be to keep the tire balanced. That's the basic science of it. I like it because I've had wheel weights. They fly off. They also look ugly when your bike is very exposed. And you can see it, and then you see tire weights. I'm like, ew, gross. On the Indian, probably not as much, especially on the rear wheel, like both. The rear wheel has tire weights. The front wheel doesn't. I feel like I've heard stuff about that too, and I'm not 100% sure what the deal is. But you can't see the rear wheel, so who cares, right? I do have tire beads for whenever I do change the size on that, but we'll see. So let me clean this up. It's a good thing I started talking, you guys, because I'll show you the video right now. This is actually bubbling up on one side. Go figure. I got so excited. So, yeah. So we're gonna try to see that bead again. But you get the idea. Alright, I'll work on that. And then when I get a chance to do the tire beads, we'll show you that. Okay? Great. See you later. Okay, so I got it set. Took a little bit. It's that whole, again, there are a lot of challenges with changing the tire on a 240 wheel. So, yeah, not have an 8 gallon, it's either 5 or 8 gallon air compressor. It's small. And, you know, there's a lot of things about you need a quick burst of air, That's not happening. Then they're like, oh, just remove your nozzle and your valve stir cam and pop it in, but I don't have the right attachment for that, so that didn't work either. So, you know, third trick, boom, ratchet strap. So ratchet strap it down and, you know, have a little pressure, and then put in the air and forces pressure and, you know, science and shit. The most important thing is, though, make sure you don't overfill it or fill it to the part. You got to be careful, because what you don't want is that ratchet strap to pop and then take your eye out. No, that did not happen. We're good. All right. So after I set the bead, yeah, I let all the air I put in out because I need to put in my tire beads. Now, the first time I changed the rear wheel, new rear tire, I did not change the tire. I think I told you I tried to. I couldn't, so I took it to a local motorcycle tire place, and they swapped it out for $35. They put wheel weights on it, and that's when my wheel weights fell off like 3 months later. The second time I did it, the ex had a friend who did race days, and he has a pneumatic machine, so they did it, and I said, hey, put these beads in there. So they did, and when I took the old tire off, I saw, like, the bag the beads were in there, too. So I was just like, that's what happens when you give men directions. Since I was running into a lot of challenges, I'm going to do it. There's a way to do it. You can just, you know, throw the beads in there before you bead the tire. That's totally fine. There's another way to do it in case you want to add beads later or whatever the fuck. So when my valve stem is removed from the tire, and then I have my 2 ounces of Dyna beads in here, and they give you this with the kits. They give you this little, you know, bottle and a tube on it. So, you know, cut it open to the right size. I actually, to put the beads in the tube, I just flip the cap the other way and pour them in there, use it like a funnel. So I'm innovative. I got some ideas. This has been a project, but I got some ideas. So I put that in there, and it's got this great little tube to go over the tire stem. So let's see how this goes. I think it'll be fine. I don't think it's going to be as dramatic as everything else has been, you guys. Let's try not to make a huge mess. Now I'm like, wait, how is this supposed to go in, you guys? Okay, so I got all my Dyna beads in. Advice, if you're going to use beads, the ceramic beads, Dyna beads, easy tire beads, whatever they call them, they're all the same. I would try to remember to put them on before you actually mount or seat the bead on tire, before you basically close the right, because through the tire stem was a pain in the butt. But, you know, that's this whole adventure. So now we're going to do is slowly piece everything back together. We're going to start with our brake rotor. So there's 5 bolts here. So like I said, they usually recommend new ones. Mine look great. It said use thread locker 242, which is actually the blue. Blue is like semi-permanent, and it's semi-permanent because it doesn't usually, it stays pretty tight. Vibration wise, but you can break it easier. So, and your screw heads are Torx T45s. So usually with Loctite, what I do is also I filled the tire last night and let it sit overnight, like on its weight, and it held its air, so that's good. So with Loctite, a lot of people like go all kinds of crazy with Loctite. Little goes a long way. So what I typically do is put just a couple drops right in the end. Because the key is, if you do it at the end, guess what? You're screwing it in, so it's going to go all the way up. It's kind of funny that way. So, get those started. Yes, I am a glove hater, and I'm wearing gloves. Let me tell you what. My hands are so tore up. So, I'm just going to cover it. And I found these gloves that actually they're rubber. They're like gardening gloves, but they got like a nice rubber grip. So, they hold on a little better. Remember, watch out for cross threading. So once you get them, snug, they don't have to actually be tight, because remember, you're going to torque them. So like any set of screws and bolts and stuff that are in a circular pattern, remember you want to do cross things so it actually sets evenly, So either or, like I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. Your torque setting for these is between 30 and 38 foot-pounds. T45 rotor bolts, 30 to 38 foot-pounds. Just so you know. And again, cross pattern. So we'll get that going. Okay, that's set. Turned out a little bit. It was easier to stand it up and use, leverage and stuff. It's good stuff. Remember with your torque wrenches, I usually put it on the floor. It can't fall and get all out of whack. Okay, so now that this is on, we will examine our next steps to get our big old tire back on the bike. And Big Papa's gonna come into play. I checked in the book. I was getting a little ahead of myself. So what we have to do here, this is a compensator bowl. And the first thing they want us to do is put this Loctite anti-seize lube. It's going to go in a lot of places, but first they want to put to the bearing on this side, which is right here. And they said bearing only. See, it comes out like, remember all glue skits from school? So we're just going to, okay, nice fresh lube. Trust me, I'm just following directions. I'm doing what they tell me. I know it looks messy, but I'm like, nope, you said do this. Then the directions say, take a detergent spray like Windex or something and spray it here in the bowl. Actually, you know what? Let me actually get Windex. Okay, what the manual actually says is apply Windex to the cushion. My cushion fell out. It probably needs some lubricant. If your cushion ever comes out, it actually says it in the service manual as well. It says wheel side and it says pulley side. So they're like, make sure when you put it in, your pulley side is sticking out. I go, oh, that makes sense. It also makes sense to spray it on the cushion because if you spray it here, it's gonna be messy. So I'll spray that. Just in case you're wondering. Yeah, Windex. Blue juice. It's an interesting thing, I must say. I think the last times I've done this, I don't think it fell out. So, I'm like, oh, this is new. Okay, cool. Boom. That is done. So we got anti-seize lube in there. Our cushion's back on there. Our brake rotor's back on there. Next step. Okay, before we get too carried away. So I'm reading directions here. So this is your compensator. I think it's a compensation bowl spacer. It's your spacer. But groove end in spacer. So that's going to go there. Sit right there. Said nothing about lubing it, but yet all of this stuff ends up covered in anti-seize lube. So I don't know. I got none nowhere. I got no one nowhere. Yeah, because it all comes down the axle and all this stuff. So you will see shortly. Okay, and then you're gonna take your pulley and these. I think there's something stupid like they call them dogs because I had to figure out what the hell they were talking about. So make sure these go on the spacers and your pulley will be set. Now I am gonna put this in here now, but I'm pretty sure by the time I get this wheel to the bike, which is right behind my camera right now, that somehow this will fall off. So I may put it on. And then by the magic of editing, it'd still be on when I get there. But you know, we'll see. Actually, it's pretty snug. Actually, stay on there. I don't want to lay it down on the brake rotor and push on it, but this seems pretty good. Pretty snug. Okay. Now I'm sure is next one, get it to the swing arm. I promise this time. Okay, so I'm reading the directions. Tells you to put the tire in here in the forks, and then slip your belt over your pulley and your sprocket. Make sure that's lined up. And talks about some fun stuff about the brake caliper. Then I'm like, well, no, this sounds all weird. So I'm going to cross that bridge when I come to it, because with the brake caliper, the most important thing is in the freaking caliper on the rotor between the pads. Everything else is usually wiggle room and stuff. But the point I'm getting at is that it tells you after you get the tire in here to lube up your axle with a light coat of anti-seize stick, any of the bearings, any of the holes, anything that this axle is going to go through, to lube it up with a light coat. I'm going to do it ahead of time, because I don't need this wheel trying to roll out at me if it's going to or not or whatever. So I figure if all my stuff is lubed beforehand, I'll be good to go. So it's essentially anything this axle is going to go through is what's going to lube. And it says light coat, which means cover it, took it. No. So, and it's like a glue stick. I mean, you put a little pressure, it goes right inside. But like, now I did wipe this down the other day, clean up some of the old stuff, so we get a nice fresh coat of anti-seize lubricant, because it does what it says. Keeps it from seizing. Because you know what you don't want? That's right. You don't want your freaking rear wheel seizing on you like a crazy person. Nobody wants any of that. Put that down. Now the stick portion comes in handy because there's some bearings here. This is the one the pulley's on. That's why that's laying over here. I'm gonna put some in this hole. In theory, well, you know, it's that light coat, right? Oh, there it goes. Remember, your axle is gonna go through this brake caliper mount, so definitely get some in there. Oh, I'm making a nice little pointy pen out of this. Isn't that nice? Now, I didn't say anything about putting on my ABS sensor, so I'm not going to. It'll get some. It'll get some. All by itself. Tired. Please. I think I told myself I was going to lower this a little bit. I don't remember. Alright, so obviously you want to get this in between the forks. This is where, yeah, this moves up. Let's see, what's holding me up? This thing. Alright, so let's put that arm down. I'm really confused because it seems super tight, but this moves up. Let's see if that's the key. Is this the secret here? Yep. Alright. Gotta move your swing arm a little bit. First, let's get this can get this over the pulley. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the bike down a little bit. That helps. It does help. Okay. Kind of seated in there. And then I think that's it. Okay, let's try to get the brake caliper on. Now I didn't change the brake pads because these are pretty good, so I don't want to mess with them too much. Oh, look at that. That's sliding on. Yay. Okay. So caliper's on. That's almost lined up. Okay, some stuff's positioned. We're going to start pushing this through. So it's a little washer spacer, whatever you want to call it, actually sits in there, in between here and here. This is where stuff's going to get interesting. So this is why everything stays loose, because it just has to. And this is actually a little heavier because that brake caliper thing's on it. Oh God. Woo. All right. To start. Thing about the other side is the ABS sensor. So let me double check where in line that goes. Okay, I spent some time finagling. I just want to show you. So right here, that's that ABS sensor. So the ABS sensor, this is indented a little bit, so it sits in there. So you have to do a little bit of wiggling between this and this to get it in. I actually lifted this up a little bit, got that seated, and was able to slide this back down. And then, if you look, you might be able to see, but the axle nut's in there, just waiting to pop through. So there's going to be some wiggling happening right about now. So I'm going to wiggle this around a little bit and then circle back to you guys. Okay, got the axle through with very little drama. I did have to lift and kind of angle the tire a little bit to make it work. So be prepared to carry some of that weight. But that's through there, and as you can see on this camera, here's your, what do they call it? Axle adjuster and their nut. You're supposed to put make sure you have your anti-seize on this, and then you're going to put this on finger tight. Now you see this is hitting part of the swing arm. But you also notice that in your axle, on your swing arm, there's a lot of space. You know why? Because it's going to do this. That, that also brings your axle back and forth. So you can get your belt tightened and all that junk. So this is going on finger tight. Now, what's going to happen next is tightening, getting everything tight on basically the wheel and the axle and the belt and getting that tight. Then I'm going to circle back and tighten the brake caliper mount and all that stuff, because sometimes that's a pain in the butt, and if I tighten that first, I know I'm going to regret it, okay? So let me review what I need. Let me move some cameras around if necessary, and we'll get going with that. Okay, so these two caliper fastener bolts, the heads are 8mm, and I double checked the service manual a couple times. There's no Loctite or anything of the sort in there, so we're just putting these in. A little pre-tighten. The torque setting on these is 43 to 48 foot-pounds, which is a lot. So getting this like as hand tight as you can, it's not a bad idea. Also, I can see where maybe once or twice it was missed, so make sure you seat your Allen keys where it's supposed to be. But make sure it's in there. It's tight. There we go. Those are on. Wonderful. Okay, moving a little closer because I want you to see So this axle nut adjuster and the one on the other side, like they say, they only go in one way, so basically match each other, right? So the whole idea with these being loose, it's an axle nut adjuster. It'll tighten your belt. Okay? So always the hardest part maybe is this, getting that off. So I'm going to try to take some weight off again to have a little bit more play. Okay, just a little bit. See a little free play in the wheel. So I want to make sure. Now there is a guideline in your manual on how much play should be down here. And I have one of those pushy tensioner gauge things, and I used to have the belt guard here. You could deflect it, you could see, and then the belt guard broke and all this stuff. So I essentially play it by ear. You know, seeing how tight it is. So you're basically turning this. This will be easier, and then you'll see. You can see it slide back and forth right now. See it tightening? Should have started with that, but that's fine. See, that's too tight. That's not enough play. So a little bit off. Another good guide is that if you see right here, you can see how far away the belt is. When you're spinning it, you'll make sure that's kind of even. I'd spin it more, but my damn brake caliper is all doing everything. So we'll get that. I'm going to tighten down the brake caliper stuff, and then we'll do the axle nut last. Okie dokie. So this axle nut is 36 millimeters. I bought this specifically for this. Like we always do, kind of pre-tighten it. But this is big enough you don't have to get another freaking torque wrench to do it. You can do it with your hands. So this is going to be the fun part, guys. And we're going to see how far we can get with it up here. But I have a feeling I'm going to lower this lift so I can use all my leverage. Because the torque setting for this nut is 140 to 150 foot-pounds. Yep, that's exactly why I have Big Papa. I called it Big Papa. Yeah. Also, it's your tire. You don't want it floating around somewhere. So, I'm going to get started. But we'll see. Probably the hardest part is having the little wrench on this side because it's skinny. What's nice about this angle, though, I can keep an eye, make sure my socket stays on the nut. It's super important. Okay, we are going to lower this a bit. Okay, so yeah, I repositioned it. I decided to put it all the way down. I did test run it, so I'm going to put my foot on that wrench. I think the last time I did this... Oh, wait, no, I did. The last time I put this tire was by myself. I think the first time I did it, I had assistance with this portion. The second time I did it by myself. So, but lifting's easier. I forgot to put it in gear, you guys. Hold on, I'll put it in gear so it doesn't do that. Alright, see? Wheel no movie now. I think there's play too because the shocks are not connected. Yep. Oh my god! Do you hear the click? I heard the click! I did it, you guys! Woohoo! That's exciting. Okay. I'm going to move the lift again so then we can get the shocks on. Okie dokie, so put in your belt guard. Remember how we took it out? We slid it into the little notches here and here. When you're looking for the nut for this bolt for your shock, remember it's on the belt guard? Ask me how I know. It's built into there, so that locks in. And these are your Torx. They're T50s. And their torque setting is between 31 and 50 foot-pounds. 31 and 50 foot-pounds. I did double-check the book. The book didn't say anything about blue Loctite. but there's clearly blue Loctite on here before. And where I'm more like inclined always to go with the manual, I'm also on the line, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So clearly there's been blue Loctite on here before. I've taken it off before. I would not have put blue Loctite on if there wasn't blue Loctite on originally. How many times can I say blue Loctite? And the other side will have the same settings. Okay, on the right side, same size T50, same torque settings, but this one has its own lock nut, so don't remember your lock nut. So let me tighten this one first. There you go. I don't think I actually loosened it the first time. So then with this, 19 combo wrench right there. Please hold that for me, thank you. There you go. All done. I think Duchess has a new tire, you guys. At least in the rear, you know, her sexy part. Okay, so we have successfully removed wheel, changed tire, and put the wheel back on. I would say any challenges I had with actually mounting the tire, having to call reinforcements and all that stuff, don't let that discourage you. You can always do what I did the first time, which was you could remove the wheel and reinstall the wheel, but take it somewhere to have them mount the new tire, take off the old tire. That is, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. It still probably saved me some bucks. I think when I took it to Motorcycle Tire Center a few years ago, it was probably like 35 bucks for them to remove the old one, put the new one on, balance it, and give it right back to me. So it's really not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. So that is done. She has a new rear end. You know, like I said, the brake pads were good. I know I was going to change the rear brake pads, but they were so good. I'm like, that seems silly. And, you know, we're living in a day and age where we really got to save money. So next up will be the front tire at some point, and that will be easier. I promise. At least mounting wise anyway. But that's it. Enjoy your day. You got any questions, throw them in the comments. You know, remember, like and subscribe and smash that bell. I just want to bet by doing that, by the way. So I'm not going to tell you to smash that bell. You guys, you find stuff. That's how YouTube works. I find things all the time. On that note, keep the rubber on the ground. See you soon. Be safe out there. It's riding season, baby. Let's go. Woo!